Yes, sweet potato vodka, part 2.
All you moonshiners, if you want to hear
We welcome you back,
kind of blues.
brewers, hobbyists, winemakers, home distillers. This is a channel that dares to unlock the mysteries of home distilling. We say that all the time. And we're on our quest to create a virgin sweet potato vodka. Now, if you watched the first video right there, you'll notice that in that video we laid out why we selected the sweet potato, what the nutritional values were, what the benefits were of using a sweet potato versus a regular potato, and a lot of other information that will help you throughout your brewing hobby. Where we're at right now is we're picking up where we actually left off, which is where we put them in the pot. And remember, I have 42 pounds of potatoes, sweet potatoes. And of these 42 pounds of sweet potatoes, I intend to make about 8 gallons or so of a sweet potato mash. My anticipated alcohol by volume will be about 8%. And that, to me, is going to be on the high side. And the reason for that is because it's going to be a virgin sweet potato vodka without no other additional ingredients. I'm not going to use sugar to boost the alcohol by volume. I'm not going to use any grain. I don't need anything additional to provide the amylase enzyme, because the sweet potato has amylase, has alpha and beta amylase already resident in the sweet potato. So we're trying to take advantage and trying to make sure that we reach an efficiency level to extract as much of the fermentable sugars as we possibly can from a sweet potato. So, having said that, remember, we chopped them up, we diced them in different sizes and different geometric figures and all that. We didn't get real scientific about that, but we put about 15 pounds in almost 4 gallons of water. Okay, and I brought it up to 149 degrees for the beta amylase, and then we brought it up to for about 40 minutes. Then we brought it to 155, and we let it sit there for 2 hours, and then I heated it up to 170 to try to soften them. And I may have, I don't know, maybe I led you astray, but yes, you're going to have to bring it up to close to a boil in order to soften them up to make a mush. And so I did that, and that's where we're at right now. I just turned these off. It's been about 3.5 hours since we started this process. And so this is only iteration 1. I've got 2 more to get through. So, of course, unfortunately, you won't be with me, but I'll be here doing it just as regular. And on the next video, we'll do of course, the fermentation and all that other stuff. But I want to show you what we do from here into our fermentation bucket. Now, there's one thing in particular that is critical that you understand. Okay? What is critical when you're using sweet potatoes as opposed to regular potatoes. Okay? First of all, the sweet potato is not a potato. But don't make me go down that road, all right? We've given it the name sweet potato for a lot of different reasons, okay? And of course, it's not a yam, but we'll use the yam as a descriptive term to identify sweet potatoes. It's just the way Americans do things. So that's just the way it is, okay? So now that we've got them all prepared, the biggest difference is that once I mash these, and I'm going to use just a regular potato masher, in this case a sweet potato masher, and I want to mash them up and try to create a puree, just a mush, just like you would with mashed potatoes. And I'm going to transfer them from here into this bucket to allow it to cool. What will go into the bucket with it is all the water. Now remember, we've done the majority, we've done all of the conversion at those temperatures to create the fermentable sugars. And I can tell you that by looking in here already, I saw this, you can see the foam on top, and what does the foam indicate? Yeah, those branch chain saccharides, those sugars. So I know we've already done all of that. So I've got all I'm going to get out of these potatoes. So the major difference is that this is complete. So the water goes with the potatoes. And the reason the water goes with the potatoes is because that water is full of sugars. Think about that. Yeah, the water is full of all the sugars to include the potatoes themselves. And we're going to ferment the potatoes and the water together. Now, if we were using a regular white potato, what would we have in here? Think about that. There's no amylase in a white potato or in a true potato. So really what you've done in that case is you've hydrolyzed it and you've broken down all the starches, so all you have are starches and starches in the water. You see, there's one more step that must take place if you're using just regular potatoes. Now you have to cool it down and use amylase, which would be a grain, or you could use the chemical itself. You could purchase it from your local brew shop, alpha amylase, and you could break down the starches into fermentable sugars. That's already happened. We don't have to do any of that. So therefore, all of this will wind up in here, and guess what? Yeah, I got to start all over again. So let me show you what I've got. Now, just take a look at that. See, now that is the sweet potatoes that are already starting to break down. And they're really, they were clumpy, but all I've got to do now is start to mash those and add those to my fermenter. Now, in mashing them, this is going to be a difficult task because, you see, it's not that hard. I'll spend the next several minutes mashing these. And the benefit of having this colander in here that has those legs on the bottom of it is it's a standoff from the bottom, which means that it heats a whole lot more efficiently. I'm sorry, I don't know where I got this. This colander came with, I believe, this pot. And I probably bought it as some kind of a kitchen outlet somewhere because I wanted a large stainless steel pot for this. And the benefit is that the stainless steel pot is magnetic, so it works excellently, very good on my induction cooktop. You don't have to have one of these. You can do it many different ways, but you can see how I'm starting to make a slurry out of that. And I'll continue to do this and mash these up, and then I'll show you we'll transfer it into the bucket. Now, if you see that is a really good sweet potato mash. And I'm just mashing up all those potatoes, and then I'll just turn it over and dump those into the bucket because we want to reserve this. We want to keep this in the fermenter until we're finished fermenting, and then we'll separate this from the mash and we'll pull off the clear liquid. Pot holders come in handy. Now I've got my second batch. And again, for those of you who have a really large pot, you're able to do this all at once, good on you. Some of you may have a smaller pot. You may have to do this more than 3 times. But remember, it's about 25 pounds for a 5-gallon batch. And I'm shooting for an 8-gallon, so I'm using 42 pounds. Which means it's going to take me 3 iterations to get through this. And right now I'm at about 135 degrees or so. I'm just going to go ahead and drop these potatoes in there and then bring that temperature up to the appropriate temperature. What is that? I know you watched the first video, 149. For how long? Yeah, 40 minutes. All right, I'll drop those in there. I'll tell you what, that colander is a lifesaver. Oh, then let me place my lid back on it. And I've got my other slurry in the fermenter, and that's going to take a while to cool down. And I'm in no hurry because I've got this to go through. So I've got plenty of time. I'm in no hurry. I'm not going to use like a wort chiller or ice or anything else to try to chill. I'm just going to let that naturally cool on its own. It'll take overnight. So, and I'm not going to bore you and force you to watch me do this for the third iteration. How's that? When we come back, we'll have another video, and this one will be all about fermentation and preparing that mash for the ultimate sweet potato vodka. Happy distilling.